This is my quarterly wrap-up part 2, specifically not physical books. We'll start with my last 3-star read. This one is one I started and stopped a lot. I found myself bored. I found it very predictable. I'll be completely honest, I know I'm going to get a lot of hate. I do not know why everyone is obsessed with this book. This is a translated fiction novel. I found it to be, for the most part, very soothing. However, I couldn't focus throughout it, and I had to audiobook most of it. I probably won't ever get around to reading the rest of the series, but I enjoyed this one as a standalone. This one takes place in a summer camp where the main female lead is a camp counselor. However, for the most part, I enjoyed this. The main character got a bit annoying, and this book actually made me question if I liked YA or not anymore, which is why I give it 4 out of 5 stars. Listen, I don't like fantasy, but I read this, and I do consider it to be fantasy, and I actually really ended up enjoying it. I did have to listen to the audiobook to get really into it, but I ended up loving it. I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. However, I do not feel like this should be shelved in the YA section. I borrowed this from a coworker. It is like a dystopian sci-fi-ish. Has to do with an AI house, and somebody gets killed in the AI house, so it's kind of got like a murder mystery element to it. I did end up giving this 4 out of 5 stars because the writing style was a bit hard to get to, and it reminded me of one of those Twilight Zone Ray Bradbury episodes where you just don't quite get it. This is another 4-star read. I ended up really enjoying it for the most part. It's written in verse, which is not something I'm used to, and obviously because of that it has a lot of metaphors. However, the thing that threw me off, which is why I knocked off a star, is some of the metaphors obviously didn't quite connect with me as well. There's an author's note at the back of the book that I feel like it might have been better reading that before I read the actual book. This was another 4-star read. I ended up being pissed off at the end of the book, which is part of the reason it got knocked down. It's basically about 3 sisters who go missing for about a month when they're younger, and then they come back, and nobody knows where they came from, nobody knows where they were. There's a mystery to them. It is considered fantasy, which is another reason it was a little bit hard for me to get into, but I still ended up enjoying it overall. This is a super cute small town romance. It's got good vibes, happy ending. I just ended up putting it down at 80% because I was a little bit bored with it. But if you want something quick and easy for good vibes, this is definitely the one. This is another gay YA rom-com. Everyone said that the main character fell very flat to them, but I think he suited the YA vibe perfectly. The ending ended up being incredible, and I think the whole book about discovering hey, this is what the path that I wanted my whole life, this is what I thought my parents wanted, and discovering it's not what I want. I thought that was a very good storyline overall. We're finally on to the 5-star reads. This one gave me everything that Kiss and Tell and Jay's Gay Agenda couldn't give me. It was very realistic about what can happen when somebody goes through fame, what they can see in their band members, things like that. The ending was great. However, the only complaint I truly have about this book is that I was left wanting more of the characters. If they ever came out with a sequel or a novella saying oh, here's what's happening now, I would love that. Another 5-star read. This one started a bit slow, but I love the mystery surrounding it. I really love how they came up with the twist and how they came up with oh, here's how they discovered this. This is what's happening. I also love that despite the fact that it was a YA, the romance element took a back seat. We love when they don't make that the forefront of a storyline. This is a own voices romance. I absolutely love the male lead. He is everything I feel like he needed to be. I love that it was just a cute romance. I loved the theme that the story was centered around. I also loved that there was autism representation in this book. I loved how gentle he was with his brother. It was just overall very much one of those heartwarming romances. So, 5 out of 5 stars from me. Overall, I ended up having 3 3-star reads, 15 4-star reads, and 5 5-star reads. I enjoyed them for what they were. Thank you for watching. Let me know what your thoughts were.